There's a unique kind of strength that often goes unnoticed, a quiet strength that doesn't demand attention, yet speaks volumes. It's the strength of a woman who carries her pain in silence, much like a deeply rooted tree weathering a storm. This tree doesn't sway with every gust or break under the weight of rain. It stands firm because its roots are securely anchored. Similarly, silent strength is anchored in resilience, wisdom, and an unwavering trust in God. In a world that celebrates loudness and visible victories, the silent strength of a woman can be overlooked. Yet, as believers, we know that God values the unseen as much as the seen. Isaiah 30:15 reminds us, "In quietness and trust is your strength." A woman who carries her pain in silence embodies this truth, demonstrating that strength isn't always about what we say or do, but the grace with which we endure. Before we continue, if this message resonates with you, please support our channel by giving this video a thumbs up and writing in the comments, 77. Your engagement helps us share these empowering messages with others. Let's dive in. The quiet resilience of a woman who carries her pain without complaint is remarkable. Her silence doesn't stem from a lack of emotion or weakness. It's a deliberate choice to endure life's hardships with dignity and grace. Refusing to let her struggles make her bitter, she chooses a path that requires extraordinary courage. Consider Hannah in 1 Samuel 1, whose silent strength offers a profound example of this courage. Hannah endured the pain of infertility in a society where a woman's worth was often tied to her ability to bear children. Her anguish was compounded by the cruelty of her rival, Peninnah, who mocked her year after year. Despite having every reason to lash out or let bitterness consume her, Hannah chose a different response. She carried her sorrow quietly and poured her heart out to God in prayer. Instead of seeking validation or retaliating, she entrusted her pain to the one who truly understood. Her silence wasn't weakness. It reflected a deep trust in God's timing and faithfulness. Hannah knew that shouting her struggles to the world wouldn't bring peace. Only in the stillness of prayer could she find the strength to endure. A woman who carries her pain in silence understands the sacredness of holding certain emotions close. Words can sometimes diminish the depth of an experience, but silence allows her to connect with God in a profound way. Her quiet strength reveals courage, wisdom, and faith, showing us that strength doesn't always need a voice to be heard. If you are inspired by this message, consider supporting our channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Together, let's encourage more women to embrace their God-given strength and walk boldly in faith. She understands that sharing her sorrow openly might reduce its depth, making it less meaningful. She recognizes that her pain, though heavy, holds a sacredness that the world cannot fully grasp. In a culture that often equates loudness with strength, her quiet endurance may go unnoticed. People might wonder why she doesn't voice her struggles or seek attention. What they fail to see is that her silence is an act of immense courage, a deliberate choice to protect her heart and bring her burdens to God instead of the crowd. One of the greatest dangers for any woman carrying pain is the temptation to let it grow into bitterness. Bitterness begins as a whisper, telling her that life is unfair, others have it easier, or she has been overlooked. If left unchecked, it can take root, clouding her heart and stealing her joy. The Bible warns about this in Hebrews 12:15. See to it that no one falls short of the grace of God, and that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many. Bitterness doesn't just harm the one who holds it, it spreads, affecting relationships and interactions with others. A woman with silent strength chooses a different path. She refuses to let bitterness define her. Instead, she seeks grace in her pain, pouring her sorrow out to God like Hannah did, trusting Him to carry what she cannot. In doing so, she shields her heart from the destructive power of resentment. Silent strength isn't about pretending everything is fine or suppressing emotions. It's a steady and intentional decision to endure with grace. A woman with this kind of strength may cry in the quiet of her room or whisper her prayers through tears. She feels the weight of her burden deeply, yet she chooses not to let it crush her spirit. Her silence isn't an absence of feeling. It's a protective space where she can process her pain without judgment or interference. Her strength is often misunderstood. People might see her calm demeanor and assume she is unbothered or stoic. Beneath the surface, however, she is fighting unseen battles with immense courage. She feels deeply, but understands that not all emotions need to be shared. Her choice to keep some struggles private isn't about isolation. It's about protecting what is sacred. The quiet endurance of a woman carrying her pain in silence challenges society's belief that strength must always be loud or visible. Her silent courage reminds us that some of the greatest acts of resilience occur in the hidden corners of the heart, where no one else can see. The quiet strength of a woman who carries her pain without bitterness is a powerful reminder that resilience doesn't always mean speaking out or seeking validation. Sometimes it's about finding peace in the stillness and trusting that God sees every tear and understands every unspoken word. Her example inspires others to reframe their understanding of strength, teaching us that struggles don't have to define us. Like her, we can resist the pull of resentment and instead entrust God with the burdens we cannot bear alone. One of the most profound lessons from Hannah's story is how she prayed. Instead of sharing her pain with people who might misunderstand or trivialize it, she brought her sorrow to God, pouring out her soul in a way only He could understand. We are invited to do the same, to take our pain to God, whether through loud cries or silent prayers. Psalm 34:18 assures us, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." For a woman who trusts in Him, her silent prayers become a source of strength that sustains her even in her darkest moments. To the woman who feels unseen or misunderstood, take heart. Your silence is not a weakness. It is a strength rooted in wisdom and faith. God sees the burdens you carry and the tears you cry when no one else is watching. He understands the depth of your pain, even when you cannot find the words to express it. Silent strength is not merely about enduring pain. It is also about knowing when to release control and accept life's realities. For a woman who carries her pain in silence, this wisdom lies at the heart of her resilience. She learns that acceptance is not surrender or pity. It is an act of courage. By facing life as it is, she trusts that God can work through even the most challenging circumstances. Mary, the mother of Jesus, exemplifies this kind of acceptance. When the angel Gabriel told her she would bear the Messiah, her life changed forever. She faced potential public shame, an uncertain future, and the immense responsibility of raising the Son of God. Yet her response was simple and profound. "I am the Lord's servant. May your word to me be fulfilled." Luke 1:38. Mary's quiet strength wasn't born of ignorance or lack of emotion. She fully understood the weight of her calling. Yet she surrendered her fears and desires to God's plan, trusting in His purpose. Her example reminds us that true wisdom isn't resignation, but finding peace in obedience, even when the path ahead is unclear. For many women, the greatest challenge during times of pain or uncertainty is letting go of the need to control the outcome. It's natural to want to fix what's broken, make sense of chaos, or resist circumstances that feel unfair. But the woman who embodies silent strength understands that not everything can be controlled or explained. Her wisdom lies in quietly acknowledging life's complexities, knowing that fighting against the unchangeable only deepens her pain. Her strength is found in her trust, in the quiet assurance that God is working through every trial and will lead her to peace. Rather than trying to control everything, she chooses to trust in the sovereignty of God, believing His plans are greater than her understanding. This trust doesn't erase her sorrow or fear, but allows her to move forward without being consumed by them. Isaiah 55:8-9 reminds us, For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Acceptance is deeply rooted in the belief that God's wisdom far surpasses our own, and that his purposes, though often hidden, are always good. It's a concept that is frequently misunderstood. Acceptance isn't passive resignation or pretending pain doesn't exist, nor is it a lack of ambition or desire for change. Instead, it's a deliberate choice to face reality with courage while trusting in God's ability to redeem even the darkest situations. A woman with this wisdom understands the difference between what she can control and what she must release. She chooses to focus her energy on the things within her power, her responses, her attitude, and her faith, while entrusting the rest to God's capable hands. This kind of acceptance requires humility. It means acknowledging that she doesn't have all the answers and that some questions may remain unresolved in this life. It also involves recognizing her dependence on God and trusting that he will sustain her even when she feels weak. One of the unexpected gifts of acceptance is freedom. When a woman lets go of the need for control, she is no longer weighed down by impossible expectations. She finds peace even amid uncertainty because she knows she is not alone. This freedom allows her to live more fully in the present, unburdened by regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. She learns to rest in the here and now, trusting that God is always at work. Mary's life provides a beautiful example of this freedom. After accepting Gabriel's message, she didn't try to take matters into her own hands. Instead, she waited on God's timing, allowing him to guide her step by step. Her willingness to let go of control enabled her to experience the joy of being part of his plan, even amid significant challenges. Acceptance also means learning to live with unanswered questions. For a woman who carries her pain in silence, this can be one of the hardest lessons to learn. She may never fully understand why certain things happen or why some prayers seem unanswered. Yet, her wisdom allows her to make peace with the mysteries of life. She doesn't demand explanations or try to force meaning where none is apparent. Instead, she rests in the knowledge that God's understanding far exceeds her own. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." This trust isn't always easy, but it brings a profound sense of security. For the woman who embraces it, acceptance becomes a source of strength, peace, and the freedom to live fully in God's plan. If this message resonates with you, please support our channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Together, we can inspire others to trust in God's wisdom and find peace in his purpose. A woman with silent strength understands that she cannot control the actions or choices of others. Instead of trying to change those around her, she accepts them as they are, offering grace and understanding rather than judgment. This doesn't mean she tolerates harmful behavior or allows mistreatment. Instead, she approaches relationships with humility, recognizing that everyone is on their own journey. She knows that love is not about control, but about offering support and compassion, even when others fall short. This kind of acceptance brings healing to her relationships. By creating a safe space for others to be themselves, free from the burden of unrealistic expectations, she reflects the love of Christ, who accepts each of us in our brokenness and calls us to grow in him. In offering grace, she embodies the depth of Christ's compassion and forgiveness. Acceptance also teaches her the art of letting go. Life is full of transitions. Relationships end, seasons change, and dreams sometimes go unrealized. A woman with silent strength learns to hold her life with open hands, cherishing blessings but not clinging to them. Letting go often brings grief and vulnerability, yet it also opens the door to new possibilities and deeper trust in God's provision. In releasing control, she discovers a peace that surpasses human understanding. She no longer wastes energy fighting battles she cannot win or trying to control outcomes beyond her reach. Instead, she focuses on living faithfully, loving deeply, and trusting completely. For a woman who carries her pain in silence, words are not always necessary to express her strength, love, or resilience. Her silence is not an absence, but a powerful presence, one that often speaks louder than words ever could. Through her quiet steadiness, she offers connection, compassion, and understanding to those around her. This silent communication holds extraordinary power, proving that the most meaningful expressions of love and strength often require no words. She understands that when others are in pain or facing challenges, the best comfort doesn't always come from advice or solutions. Sometimes the greatest gift is simply being present. This ministry of presence is beautifully illustrated in the story of Job. When Job suffered unimaginable loss, his friends sat with him for 7 days in silence, offering their presence without explanations or attempts to fix his suffering. Job 2:13. A woman with silent strength embodies this empathy. Her presence alone communicates understanding and reassurance. She doesn't rush to solve problems, but acknowledges the depth of others' pain, offering comfort through her quiet and unwavering support. Some experiences are too deep for words, and a woman with silent strength understands this truth. Her quiet presence creates a safe space for others, allowing them to grieve, reflect, or simply be, free from the pressure to speak or explain. This silent sanctuary is a gift, offering comfort and connection without the need for words. Beyond her presence, a woman with silent strength speaks through her actions. A gentle touch on the shoulder, a warm smile, or an embrace can communicate volumes. These seemingly simple gestures carry immense weight, saying, "I see you, I'm here for you." Jesus himself often spoke through actions. In John 13:3-5, he washed his disciples' feet, a quiet yet profound act of love and humility. Without uttering a word, he demonstrated what it means to serve selflessly. Similarly, a woman with silent strength embodies her care and compassion through thoughtful deeds rather than words. Her ability to notice the unspoken needs of others and respond with intentional gestures creates a deep connection that words alone cannot achieve. Listening is another powerful way she communicates. True listening, she knows, goes beyond simply hearing someone speak. It means being fully present, absorbing not just their words, but also their emotions, tone, and unspoken needs. In a world filled with distractions and interruptions, her attentiveness stands out. She doesn't rush to offer advice or fill silences. Instead, she creates a space where others feel valued and understood. This form of listening is a profound act of care, conveying the message, "You matter, and I'm here to understand you." One of her most remarkable qualities is her ability to hold space for others without making the moment about herself. Because she has learned to bear her own struggles quietly, she understands the importance of providing a sanctuary for others to process their emotions. Holding space is an act of generosity, requiring her to set aside her own needs to be fully present for someone else. It isn't about offering solutions or fixing problems. It's about being a steady, non-judgmental presence. This kind of listening mirrors how Jesus engaged with people. When he encountered the woman at the well in John 4, he gently drew out her story with questions, offering his attentiveness and leading her to transformation. Similarly, a woman with silent strength uses her listening ear as a gift to those who need to be heard. In moments of deep grief or hardship, words often fall short. For a woman with silent strength, her presence becomes a refuge, a reminder that no one has to face their pain alone. She listens, offers comfort, and creates a space where others can express their feelings without fear of judgment or interruption. There's an old saying, "Actions speak louder than words." For a woman who embodies silent strength, this is central to how she communicates. Her love, care and resilience are evident in how she lives, not in what she says. Consider Jesus' silence before his accusers during his trial. Isaiah 53:7 describes him. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth. His silence wasn't weakness, but strength, a deliberate choice to trust God's plan and let his actions speak for him. In the same way, a woman with silent strength allows her life to testify to her character. She doesn't need to announce her resilience or explain her choices. Her actions demonstrate who she is. Through her kindness, faithfulness, and willingness to serve, she communicates a strength that words alone could never capture. Her silent strength is a calming presence, reminding us that sometimes the greatest expressions of love and resilience are found in what we do rather than what we say. A woman with silent strength has an extraordinary ability to remain steady in the face of challenges, bringing peace to those around her. She doesn't panic or let her emotions dictate her responses. Instead, her calmness becomes a source of reassurance, offering others a safe harbor in the storm. Through her quietness, she reminds everyone that it's possible to face difficulties without losing hope. Her strength doesn't deny the reality of pain, but demonstrates that pain doesn't have to define or control us. Often deeply attuned to the needs of others, a woman with silent strength notices what others overlook: the subtle shift in someone's tone, the sadness in their eyes, or the tension in their posture. Her ability to sense these unspoken cues allows her to offer support in ways words never could. This sensitivity reflects her compassionate and attentive heart. She doesn't wait for others to voice their needs. Instead, she anticipates them, responding with kindness and care. Her intuition becomes a form of silent communication, saying, "I see you, and I understand what you're going through." At its core, the silent strength of a woman is an act of love. It's a choice to prioritize connection over explanation, to offer understanding instead of judgment, and to let her actions speak when words cannot. This love isn't flashy or dramatic. It's steady, quiet, and deeply rooted in faith. It reflects the love described in 1 Corinthians 13:7. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Through her silent strength, she bears the burdens of those around her, offering them a glimpse of Christ's unchanging love. Finally, a woman with silent strength reminds us of the power of connection beyond words. Her presence, actions, and quiet attentiveness speak a language that touches hearts in ways words cannot. Her strength doesn't need to be declared or recognized. It's felt in the peace she brings, the love she gives, and the hope she inspires. For those who know her, she becomes a source of inspiration, showing that true communication transcends what can be spoken aloud. As we reflect on her silent strength, let us remember that God sees every tear, hears every unspoken prayer, and knows every burden we carry. Her example invites us to trust Him more deeply, love others with compassion, and find peace in His promises, even during overwhelming times. If this message has touched your heart, share it with someone who needs encouragement today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and help spread this message of hope. Together, we can remind the world of God's love and grace. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you and sustain you always.